Welcome back to the 480 podcast. I'm Jacob Fredericks. In today's episode, we're going to discuss what went wrong in the Cardinals' crushing defeat against the Washington Commanders and what they can do to improve that in next week's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. All right, so going into this game, I actually expected the Cardinals to have a really good game against a 2-1 Commanders team that had a rookie quarterback and just a very new team. So I expected the Cardinals going into this game to have a very good performance, and that just didn't happen. The Cardinals were absolutely just not good enough on all sides of the ball. I think in particular on that defense, the defense got really ran over, gave up 200 yards rushing in the second straight game. I think that is a very big concern for the Cardinals going forward, especially with that young defensive line. We're going to need some help there. And once Robinson gets back from his injury, I think that'll help. But the Cardinals just have a lot of work to do on that defensive front. I think in the passing game, the secondary just got burnt up a little bit. You can tell they were a young secondary. They looked very young, and that's going to come with time in coaching. But I think the secondary just wasn't quite up to standard, and Washington spread the ball out very well. Jaden Daniels looked like a very experienced quarterback, and he was getting all of his receivers involved. 9 different receivers had a catch for the Commanders. The Cardinals, only 5 different receivers had a catch. So I think the Cardinals actually should, on the offensive side, should take a play out of the Commanders playbook there and to spread the ball around a little more. I think Harrison Jr. was a positive for the Cardinals. I think Budda Baker was another positive for the Cardinals. He had 10 tackles. He's still all over the place. But overall, I just don't think the Cardinals were good enough. Especially, and moving on to the offensive side of the ball, I think the offensive line wasn't good enough. Gave up 4 sacks. Murray got hurried a lot of times. It just wasn't quite good enough. And we could never really get the ball moving on first and second down, which I think is the biggest problem for the Cardinals right now on the offensive side of the ball, is that we get ourselves into third and longs by not getting a lot of yards on first and second down. And that really leads to the Cardinals' demise throughout the game and why the Commanders had such greater amount of points and time of possession. All right, so moving into the game against the Niners next week, for what the Cardinals can do to improve it, I think the Cardinals just need to spread the ball around a little more and just get more chunk plays on first and second down. That sets them up for third and short and even fourth and shorts. I think what the problem for the Cardinals was in these last couple of games is they're getting themselves into a lot of third and longs, and they seem to struggle on those downs, especially with an O-line that has to hold up for a long time on those downs. So I think if the Cardinals can get more yards on first and second down, they're going to set themselves up for success. However, this game is going to be a very, very difficult one for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going against the number 2 offense in the NFL right now. The 49ers offense is absolutely cooking. Brock Purdy is dealing over 1,000 yards in his first 4 games. Jordan Mason has looked great in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. And all those receivers are starting to get back. George Kittle's looking really good. He had a couple really big catches last week against the Patriots. Ayuk has had a couple games where he struggled, but we've seen how talented of a wide receiver he is, and especially with the struggling Cardinals secondary, it's going to be a very, very tall task for them. And along with Deebo Samuel there, who we know they can use in the run game and in the pass game. And the Niners' defense is still one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. You know that D-line is going to try to get to Kyler Murray. With the struggling O-line, we're really going to have to step up in this game, and Murray's going to have to get rid of the ball very quickly. I just think, again, if we can just move the ball on first and second down, we set ourselves up for some success in this game at home against the Niners. This is a very big game for the Cardinals, and if they can get a win, then they're setting themselves up for a lot of success going into the season, being 2-0 in the division and things like that. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the 480 podcast. I'm Jacob Fredericks, and I'll see you guys next time.